To accept this ride or to cancel? That's the question. Hey everyone, my name is Chris and welcome to the Rideshare Guy. And today we're going to go over a ride that is all too familiar, but the question is, do you take it? Do you not? Do you accept and then cancel, or do you just deny it outright? And what you see on the screen right now is the inspiration for today's video, as well as the post that we made on our Facebook page and our YouTube page, so we could get your feedback on what you would say and put it in this video, whether you take this ride or not. So looking at the right side, which is the map, this is the area of San Francisco, and the bridge is the Golden Gate Bridge. Now, just to note, there is a toll, but that is coming back into the city, not going out. It's very similar to like New York City and other areas, but there are some bridges that have tolls on both sides. When you see something like this, what do? Are you going to accept it? Are you going to accept it and then cancel it because it's too far or whatever reason? Or do you just deny it right away? So that's what we wanted to ask you. But he accepted it and then wanted to cancel it. So he texted the passenger and he said, "I'm your driver, Emmanuel. It's too far away. It's unbelievable to see." Now, if you've been driving for a while, you would probably know that this is not actually an uncommon thing. This is actually quite common. And it's something where drivers will say, I'm not going to take this ride. Now, one of the other things too to note is this can actually be something that happens even more frequently and more of a complaint that drivers do face and say when it comes to a streak or a ride bonus, where if you give consecutive trips, you'll get a bonus. And that's usually 3 to 5 rides. And usually the third, fourth, or fifth ride, depending on what type of ride consecutive bonus it is, you might have something that's really long and really out of the way. But going back to the text, it says from the rider, "It's just over the bridge. We'd really appreciate the ride." And then he says, "You are too far away. I would be paying to come drive you." And then the rider says, "Please cancel if you're not going to come." So then the question becomes, should you take this ride or not? Do you take long pickups or not? And it really comes down to you and your market and what you're trying to do. It's going to be based on a personal decision and the several factors that are going to go into it. Like, are you in the middle of a consecutive trip bonus? Is it going to be worth it for you? Do you want to take the gamble? Do you take everything that comes to you without question? Or do you have a certain radius set up for where you are located? If you're in the middle of the city, you don't take anything beyond a certain point. If you're in a rural area outside the city, you might extend that. It's all going to be based on you and your thoughts, depending on what you want to do. All right, so we want to hear what you would have to say in this particular situation, whether it's talking about this case specifically or something that you've done in the past. Would you accept this ride, go pick it up and take them wherever they had to go, whether it's a mile away from their pickup location, or it could be going back to the city or somewhere even further out? Who knows? It's always the gamble when it comes down to it. Or would you just deny it outright? You wouldn't even accept it and then just deny the ping request. Or would you do what this driver did? Accept the ride and then have to cancel after? What would you do and why? Comment below, let us know. Now, just to give a little bit more information on the time and distance from the place where the driver actually is to where the pickup is, you can see on the map, it's about 12 miles and it's about 16 minutes. And that is on a good day. So there could be much more traffic, and depending on when this was, depending on the traffic, it could be much, much longer. And then knowing that information, what do you think about how the rider said, "Oh, it's just over the bridge"? Because, well, again, this comes down to perception and what people think. They think, "Oh, it's just over the bridge." But a driver sees that and says, "No, that's most of the leg of the journey is past the bridge. And then coming back, I don't know if I'm going to have somebody in the car or not, and I might have to pay the toll." So it's a difference of perception and perspective when it comes down to it. But again, what are all your thoughts on this? All right, so now let's go to the feedback of what you said when it comes to this particular case and ride, whether you take it, whether you deny it, some of your thoughts on it. So we're going to go to our Facebook page first, some of the comments there. Then we're going to go to the YouTube community tab. I'm going to share some of my thoughts. And then again, if you have anything to add, make sure you do comment. All right, so the first comment we're going to go through from Steve is, why even have a conversation with the rider? Should have declined the ride or just cancel it. And Ernest replies saying the conversation is also needed so that they understand your job too. And then Carlisle says, yes, educating passengers on how drivers are impacted is drivers' responsibility, so they will know drivers are not in this to try to BS passengers. And Mario also replies to Steve's comment and says, that ride could have been part of a consecutive trip bonus, so canceling could have negatively impacted the driver. Now, those are all really good and valid points when it comes down to it. First off, I would have to agree with Steve by saying I would just deny it outright. I wouldn't even accept it because, well, to me, that's too far for what I'd want to do. So I wouldn't even want to accept the ride to begin with. Now, if it was accidentally accepted, then yeah, texting the passenger and letting them know what's going on in a clear, concise, professional form would be very good. And then letting them know, hey, look, I got to cancel the ride. It's too far. Please order a different ride and you won't be charged. So at that point, that would be something to take note as well. And again, it's just extending that professionality. And also, this could be an opportunity for you to figure out where they might be going and if the ride would actually be worth it. Are they going back to the city? Are they going on a long ride? Or is it just going to be a short ride? You could kind of figure that information out, but do it in a quick way because you don't want that person to actually be charged if you have no intention of going to pick them up. That's not what a cancellation or no-show fee is for. If you as a driver are not willing to go pick them up, do not try to get the passenger to cancel so you get that cancellation fee. Don't do that. Now, bringing up the whole point, though, of the consecutive trip fee, that's what I mentioned earlier. Yes, if this is a ride in a consecutive trip, it puts you in this weird, do I want to take it or not? And it all might come down to how much are you going to give up in the event that you don't take that ride? So again, all those were really good points. Thank you. Now going on to a few more comments. Sean says, decline the ride though. Do not accept and then cancel. Gary says, but they would end up picking them up near Paradise City. I hear the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Love it, Gary. That was awesome. Thank you. And Niraj, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, says that's ridiculous, an easy cancel. All right, and wrapping up the Facebook feedback, Sandra commented and said, this has happened to me in the Tampa Bay area. For the fun of it, I looked at the passenger app and there were 3 to 4 cars closer. I took screenshots and sent it to them. Makes no sense sometimes. Or they try to send me 20 miles over the bridge to Bradenton for a 5-minute trip, and I definitely cancel those. Now, Sandra, that's a really good point there, especially when there's cars that are closer. Why aren't those cars getting the requests, but yet sending it further away? And then here's the other little kicker when it comes to Lyft is you could be on the way there, and then all of a sudden Lyft says, oh, no. We're going to reroute you to a different rider. And what if you already crossed the bridge, did the toll, and now you have to go back over the bridge and pay another toll, or vice versa? Maybe you don't have to pay it one way, but have to pay it on the return. That's not cool. All right, and now let's go take a look at the YouTube side of things and some of the feedback there. So 7Helio7 says, anybody else notice that your third ride of a bonus streak sends you 30 miles away? It's been happening frequently to me on both platforms. And again, more drivers are complaining and noticing that it seems like these longer rides are happening on the 3rd, 4th, or 5th trip on a consecutive bonus. All right, so then John says he just pulled it up on Google Maps. It's 10 miles, 12 to get to the pickup. I'm not seeing it, but how far is the ride? We don't know for that. And I usually take everything that pops up on the screen. Well, some people do that. Again, that's why we wanted to know. Would you accept the ride and take it? Would you deny it? Or would you accept and cancel? Now, Dirty Sinatra says, just don't ever accept any trip where you pay to go across a bridge. Lyft's tried to do this to me multiple times a day. Drive 20 minutes and pay $12. And I bet the passenger doesn't even tip. It's just criminal. All right, and then Across 7K says, I live near the Golden Gate Bridge, and I get this request sometimes, and I just decline without a second thought. It's outrageous expecting us to go that far to pick somebody up. All right, so first off, I just wanted to thank everybody for the feedback on both YouTube and Facebook. If you want to check out the other comments that are on YouTube as well as Facebook, make sure you check out both pages there and you can read all the different comments. There were quite a few good comments there and some back and forth when it came down to it. It's always good to see. And if you're not already following us on our Facebook page, make sure you do. And also follow our YouTube community tab as we do post other situations, scenarios, and thoughts. and we might turn it into a feedback video from you, and you could see your name in a future video. All right, and now for me and what I would do. Well, in this particular case, I would not take it on the Lyft platform. I would just deny it altogether. On the Uber platform, well, it might be a little bit different. It just depends on what's happening. Now, when it comes to my market and when I'm out driving and it's a long pickup, well, I treat both platforms differently. The Lyft platform, I'm much more picky when it comes to a long pickup versus Uber. So when it comes to a ping request on the Lyft platform, if it's over 8 minutes, deny it every single time. Reason is, for me, anything over that 8-minute time frame, usually what ends up happening is they will reroute you. You have a greater chance of being rerouted. And that could look something like they take you to a longer pickup, so you have to drive even further to pick somebody up, or you're halfway, 3/4 on the way to pick up that passenger, and then they reroute you to where you just came from, and then even further. So now you have to drive even further to go pick somebody up. I don't appreciate that. I don't like that. So anything under that 8-minute time frame usually has a much less chance of them actually rerouting you. And then they also could just simply cancel the ride and you drove somewhere to nowhere. So I don't appreciate that nor like that. That's why I have that 8-minute rule. One thing to note when it comes to that time that they estimate for the pickup, sometimes it's not right. So if you click accept and it says 7 minutes and then you get to the map, it usually says 11. So pay attention to that just in case if you have some sort of timing. Just know that sometimes those two don't really line up when it comes to the actual time to pick up versus their estimated pickup time. And when it comes to long distance pickups on the Uber platform, well, my radius gets pushed out because they have a long pickup fee. And also, after accepting the request, they do not reroute you. That is the passenger you're actually paired with. So if I make the decision to say, yep, I'm going to take that ride, I don't need to worry about it unless they're going to cancel. And at that point, well, then I get the cancellation fee and I just move on to the next ride. So at that point, no harm, no foul. But again, it's different for both platforms. And what do you do? Do you have something in place like that? Or do you accept everything? Comment below, let us know. All right, and we're going to wrap it up right here. Make sure you're following us on our Facebook page as well as our YouTube community tab. Share your feedback on the different things that we post because you could see your name and feedback on a future video. All right, everyone, drive safe.